Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So we're gonna get started here. I'd first like to introduce a great friend to the aerospace industry and a leader of our state, Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll. You're up.
It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here with you today, and thank you so much for all the energy that you brought to our state's capital to fully inform our members of the importance of supporting not only NASA, but the industry of defense contractors, as well as the advancement and the new direction of the next generation of space and space exploration, which is our commercial crew program in this state. We have 3 companies that have been selected by NASA to compete to design, develop, and manufacture the next manned space vehicle. So it's going to happen right here in the state of Florida. And what I shared with the individuals that I met with this morning, the importance of you not only staying engaged in Florida, but certainly going to Washington, D.C., to let our members of Congress know the importance of fully funding the commercial crew program. That is a charge and a challenge that when you leave here, please extend all of your energies to Washington. Right now, NASA is going through some issues with regards to sequestration, where some of the additional dollars would have gone into the commercial crew program. We need to stay on track, and we do not need to be selecting our winners and losers. We have 3 companies in the state of Florida. 1 company hired over 500 people to work on this program. So that's lots of jobs, quality jobs, high-paying jobs that can go away if we then pick winners and losers. So also, too, we could also pick the losing, if we had to pick any one of them to say we're going to just go with this particular vehicle, we can pick the wrong one and end up spending lots of money and time to get a better craft put forward to make sure we have a reusable vehicle put to send our astronauts to the low Earth orbit and International Space Station. So Florida continues to be on the front and cutting edge of space and space technology. We need to keep it that way. We keep it that way with the industry speaking up. We keep it that way by educating our elected officials who make the decisions and the policies and the funding necessary for us to continue, like we do in the state on the Space Florida, to have creative financing with some of our companies to enable them to get to the next level, or to have that development advance so that we can get to the production phase. We continue it by making sure that the people that are the decision makers realize the importance of this industry, not just for 1 county, but for the 67 counties in the state of Florida. We have defense contractors in almost all of our counties, and or if you're of a neighboring county, you are also receiving residual benefits from the economics of that neighboring county for our state. And we want to make sure that we are on the cutting edge of developing new technology. So when we don't have to look to Russia and China and Japan or anywhere else for that cutting edge technology. We want to have it developed right here in our state and have it manufactured right here in our state. Furthermore, increasing the jobs, long sustainable jobs in the future. So we want to make sure that we educate people, we educate our community, we brag about our successes, and we're unabashedly unashamed to say that we want more successes in this state. Thank you all for being a part of changing the future and the direction that this industry is going to have for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor, for leading us with space. With a leader like you in space, we can't go wrong. Thank you so much. No, if she wants to, I think we made that offer this morning, right? So another big supporter of our industry and representing the Space Coast is Senator Andy Gardner. If you could come up and say a few words, please. Thank you.
Well, I'll be very brief. I'm kind of the freshman of the Brevard delegation, and there are a lot of people that I look to for advice and suggestions. I see some members of of our delegation. I saw Representative Goodson here, right back there in the back. And I really rely on Senator Altman. When redistricting was done and I picked up North Brevard, one of the first individuals that called was my good friend Thad Altman and said, let's go look and learn. And I tell you, again, I was kind of the freshman coming out. I'd been in Orange County. You hear about the shutdown of the space shuttle, and so you expect the worst. And to go there and see the changes that are happening, really the excitement, it probably goes back to the original space program where you really had people competing against each other to be successful. That's exciting. And to see the public-private partnerships that are happening, whether it's SpaceX or Boeing and others, that's the future. And on behalf of the Senate, and I'll follow Senator Altman's lead, we're gonna pursue that. And anything that we can do to help make that happen, those partnerships, we want to be a part of that. So again, I'm the new one to the delegation. I see the future speaker, Representative Chris Foley here. Little known fact, he's actually a constituent of mine. So I actually have to do, in the future, I have to do whatever Chris Foley wants because he's a constituent. So don't bring that up in any negotiations in the future, but we are in this together, and this is about the future of Florida. And we want to thank you, not just for what you provide for the state of Florida, but for the positive influence you have on other Floridians. It's exciting what's happening, and we look forward to the future. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We've got a theme going here. We have Representative Steve Crisafulli, also from the Space Coast, and so honored to have you supporting space, as you know how important it is to the state. If you could come up and say a few words, please, sir.
Well, thank you, and sorry for being late, but it's always good to come over and talk to y'all when you get to town. It's kind of nice to have y'all here after the first day or so of session to kind of get things kicked off, and it's always nice to see everybody in the halls and see some friendly faces because it's going to be a long 60 days up here, I can assure you of that. But thank you for obviously just taking time out of your busy schedules to come up here and advocate on behalf of an industry that's obviously very important to us in the Space Coast, but we know that it's very important to the state in general, and I think it's important that when we hand out the information like everybody's handing out today, that we can show legislators how their individual districts are impacted by the decisions that are made on these very issues. So that's an important thing, and I think it's something we should certainly keep going in the future, and thank you for being very clear to the issues that we're speaking on. It's always nice as a legislator when somebody comes in and has 20-point font and you can see what it is, you get the point, and we can move on with the issue. And obviously some of the bigger issues this year are going to be legislative pieces run by Representative Goodson, Santiago, Workman, and some others in the room. When it comes to the House side, obviously Senator Altman and Senator Gardner are going to be working on some things on their side. But along with those, the funding mechanisms that help continue to support the whole program in general from the state side, making sure Space Florida has the toolbox that they need to go and be effective on behalf of the state. So we're going to continue to work in that endeavor and try to make sure that we're doing what's ultimately right for the Space Coast and the state of Florida in the many years to come. And as Senator Gardner said, it's going to be kind of nice to be his constituent and have an opportunity to work with him across the hall. You know, him being over in the Senate and being our future Senate President, and me having the great honor to represent the House side will be something that will be great for the Space Coast and Central Florida. And I'm certainly looking forward to working with you on that partnership. So thank you all again for being here today and for having us up here.
Okay, we tried to capture all the legislators that came into the room. If we didn't catch you, please speak up. We want to recognize that you're here with us. I think this is a wonderful turnout, and we appreciate your time so much. Senator Thad Altman. Representative Charlie Stone. Representative Bobby Powell. Representative Richard Stark. Representative Keith Perry, excuse me. Representative John Wood. Senator Gwen Margulies. Representative Victor Torres. And that's my list, but I bet we missed some others.
Santiago.
Representative Santiago, welcome, sir. Representative Tom Goodson, I shook your hand this morning, my apologies. Where is it? Years ago, he, as a contractor, paved part of Astrotech's facility, and he reminds me of that occasionally. That's it. Another 30 years, we'll probably need to redo it, sir. Okay. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is President and CEO of Space Florida, Mr. Frank DeBella.
I'm going to make this very short, and it is going to be to express a number of thank yous. Certainly thanks to the Lieutenant Governor for the leadership that she's shown. I want to thank all of you and the Space Day Steering Committee. We bring ourselves today to at the end of another Space Day, a very successful one, and we're grateful to all of you who participated in the Steering Committee to make all that happened, like LaDonna and Pat and Charlene and a whole host of you. Thank you for, again, year after year, supporting this event and supporting all the things that we do in the industry across the state. And another round of applause, please. In a very personal way, I'd like to thank NASA for its continued partnership and support, and for both the presence of several national heroes here today, and I'm going to let Don introduce them, but for the partnership that we have with NASA and the Air Force. And the state is becoming increasingly important as a partner, as it partners with these agencies to help implement national space policy, especially as budgets get tight. So the role that we play and the support that all of you play in making that happen is critical to the future of the nation's leadership in space. Which brings me to thanking the legislators that are here and the staff people that are joining us tonight to support them. Without the continued support that you provided year after year, and Don's already singled you out, but in a personal way, I want to say thank you, because it certainly has made the job easier. If you give us the tools, we'll work hard to put them to good use, and I can't be more thankful for what you've done, Senator Altman and everyone. Each year we've been blessed to have a leader of the Space Day Committee, and I want to especially thank Don for the leadership that he's shown this year. This is perhaps our largest contingent of Space Day Committee members appearing in Tallahassee ever. It clearly is, and it shows both the growth of the industry in the state, the importance of the industry in the state, and the fact that we are succeeding in coming out of the natural valley that was caused, the economic downturn valley that was caused by the retirement of the shuttle and its impact on the state. We are diversifying the industry, we are building the supply chain, and we are on a path to a leadership position for Florida in the aerospace industry. We're out to show, and we are proving, that aerospace means business to the rest of the country and the rest of the world, and that Florida is the right place to perform that business in. So I thank you all. Don, if you'll come up, I really just want to thank you personally for the leadership you've shown. I look forward to yeah, I think we want to do that.
Okay.
We've also put together a video that is introduced this year to talk about the industry statewide. It was produced by Space Florida, but if we did it right, Space Florida is not mentioned in it. It's not about Space Florida, it's about Florida and the space industry in the state. So with that, I'd like to roll it, and it's for our use anywhere we need it, and we look forward to continuing things like this. There'll be a pretty aggressive marketing campaign of aerospace in Florida that you should see over the next couple of years.
Florida, for more than half a century, has been the world's most active spaceport.
Liftoff.
Today, the global space marketplace is more dynamic than ever before, and we are witnessing a distinct shift in the industry toward proving commercial relevance. From courting budding new space entrepreneurs to helping major defense contractors expand their Florida presence, our state has been doing what it takes to stay ahead of the curve, but we cannot take this leadership for granted. At this moment, there are other states, New Mexico, Texas, California, and Virginia, to name a few, that are aggressively vying for the same business Florida has so long coveted. Offering competitive financial, infrastructure, and workplace incentives, these other states are close behind. Today, the state of Florida is utilizing a combination of winning strategies to ensure the aerospace sector continues to thrive here. Market diversification is at the forefront of these, as we work with a wide variety of companies in clean energy, new materials, UAV technologies, life sciences research, and alternative fuels. In the past 2 years, out-of-the-box thinking, combined with powerful state incentives and legislative support, have been the key to Florida's success in the aerospace sector. SpaceX is the frontrunner in the U.S. commercial space race today. The company has expanded its Florida-based presence over the past 5 years in partnership with the state of Florida, which has provided significant financial, infrastructure, and equipment-related support. Today, SpaceX is leading the commercial space industry in demonstrating cost-effective and timely cargo delivery capabilities to the ISS. The state is working closely with companies like SpaceX to ensure they have the infrastructure, incentives, workforce, and political credibility needed to help Florida continue to shine as the birthplace of next-generation U.S. commercial space launch and exploration initiatives. The Boeing Company, a heavy hitter in Florida's space industry, was selected by NASA to provide commercial crew transportation for the agency's next-generation space program. While Boeing had opportunities to establish its commercial crew operations in any state, it chose Florida. State and local agencies work together with NASA leadership at Kennedy Space Center to identify and refit a legacy space shuttle hangar for the new program, enabling significant cost savings on the project, which could result in up to 550 Florida-based jobs in the coming years. Similarly, Lockheed Martin Corporation is already doing manufacturing and final assembly of NASA's next-generation Orion spacecraft from the operations and checkout building at KSC, a legacy Apollo-era processing facility. In 2012, the state of Florida, the Jacksonville Aviation Authority, and the FAA worked hand-in-hand to award Cecil Field a spaceport license, making Florida the first state to have a true network of commercial spaceports. Cecil was deemed an official spaceport territory through House Bill 59, and that designation enabled space-related infrastructure upgrades, preparing the site for horizontal suborbital launches. The Center for Southeastern Tropical Advanced Remote Sensing, or CSTARS, at the University of Miami, provides real-time high-resolution satellite imagery to support global research institutions. During the 2010 Gulf oil spill, CSTARS enabled extensive space-based remote sensing data to facilitate rapid response. Today, Florida's universities are expanding similar high-tech programs that utilize and benefit our state's space-based capabilities. The Institute for Human and Machine Cognition is a Pensacola-based, not-for-profit research institute of the Florida University System. Researchers at IHMC pioneer technologies aimed at leveraging and extending human capabilities both on Earth and in space. This innovative company designs prostheses that fit human and machine components together in ways that exploit their respective strengths and mitigate their weaknesses. The IHMC staff lends a level of innovation to Florida's high-tech economy that will continue to differentiate our state from others. The state of Florida cannot afford to lose the momentum it has gained over the last few years. By working together, our state and local agencies and elected officials have successfully secured and expanded enough space and aerospace companies to keep us in the lead nationally, but we are among even greater competition today. The continued aggressive efforts of state leadership are required to maintain this momentum. In the midst of economic challenges and competing priorities, now is the time to set the table for the innovative aerospace companies that are looking for a place to grow and thrive. Help us make Florida that choice every time.
We're honored here this evening to have with us 3 astronauts, at least 3 if we have others join us, please point them out as well. But you know, they're the heroes of our industry, and they join us each and every year, sometimes just for this day, sometimes in the case of Brian Duffy here, has been with our team all year long. Thank you, sir, for joining us. No stranger to our industry is a 4-time shuttle veteran and the current KSC Center Director, Bob Cabana. Could you say a few words, please, Bob?
Thanks, Don. You had me a little worried when you said you were starting early. I let Pedro talk me into climbing the stairs, and I wasn't sure I could stop coughing by the time I got up here.
22 floors, correct?
We made it, yeah. I just want to thank everybody for the support that you've shown to the Space Coast and our industry here in Tallahassee, but not just here, not just now, throughout the year and all that we're doing. We are very close to having a number of agreements in place that are going to really cement commercial space operations into the Cape. And, you know, we need all the help we can get. A lot of progress has been made on our heavy lift vehicle, preparing the launch sites for the SLS and the Orion crew module. We are just a little over a year away from launching the first Orion spacecraft on a Delta IV rocket. And if you could get into the ONC High Bay and see the progress that has been made and what that facility looks like now in partnership with the state to make that happen, it is phenomenal, and it's great to see real space hardware. The pads are coming along, great progress. We took a little bit of a setback with sequestration on the funding for our commercial crew program, but hopefully we'll get that straightened out in the CR. And you know, I keep telling the folks up in Washington, they're not mutually incompatible. They need each other, the heavy lift and the commercial crew. They work together, and we need both of them funded properly if we're to be successful. I think the state has done an outstanding job partnering with us to take excess capacity that we have and move it over to commercial operations. And as I said, we're close to a few more agreements here in the near future that I think are going to send a really positive message. I truly believe we've turned the corner, and we're on the upswing now, but we still have an awful lot of work to do, and we can't let up. We've got to continue to bring the jobs to Florida, to make the industry what it needs to be, and take care of the people that work there. It is by far the finest workforce anywhere. When Jacobs took over our operations contract, a new contract, new work at KSC, outstanding workforce. 2,000, all 2,000 were qualified for those jobs, and so we got a little more work to do. Hopefully, with Northrop Grumman coming down to Melbourne with 1,000 jobs, they'll pick up some of that outstanding workforce. But I think the message is we've got to keep pressing ahead and keep things going. We can't let up, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for helping make that happen. Now, I've got a little message from space for all of you to thank you. We got the crew of the International Space Station, and they've got a few words that they would like to say, if we could have that video.
Good afternoon to all of you in Florida, and welcome aboard the International Space Station. I'm Kevin Ford of NASA, commander of the station, along with our crew doctor and flight engineer, Tom Marshburn, also a NASA astronaut. We want to congratulate all of you on another successful and productive Space Day in Tallahassee, and take a moment to thank you for your continued and unwavering support of the space program. We really appreciate the efforts of the Florida legislature in making the space program a reality. Your support is critical to our country's future in space.
The ISS is a tremendous accomplishment, and we are excited about the research we are conducting here. This amazing laboratory provides us with a unique opportunity to inspire today's youth to study science, engineering, technology, and math. Thank you for promoting and supporting NASA and the International Space Station so we can continue to do great things in space.
Thank you, Bob. Another distinguished astronaut we have in our presence today is the pilot of the first shuttle flight, STS-1, Robert Crippen.
Thank you, Don, and thank all of you for that warm welcome. And as a citizen of Florida, I live in Palm Beach Gardens down near West Palm Beach. I wanted to thank all of the people that are supporting our nation's space program. It is extremely important. There are lots of reasons for doing space exploration. Depending on who you talk to, you will probably get a reason. But I like to talk about one that is, I don't think, necessarily at the forefront of everybody's mind. And that is about our national and economic security. And no, I'm not talking about military spy satellites or anything like that. I've found leadership is extremely important, and how you're perceived around the world is important. If you're perceived as weak, that's the way you're going to be treated. However, if you're perceived as strong, that's also the way you're going to be treated. And that's why Russia got into the space program initially. That's why we got into it. That's also why China is heavily into it right now. They've got their own space station flying. And in fact, the Europeans are now lobbying with China to put their astronauts on the Chinese space station. India is also pursuing it, even Iran. So it is something that we ought to be concerned about. And that's one of the reasons that, as Bob mentioned, we're building a new rocket called the Space Launch System, a big rocket with that Orion capsule that was talked about on top of it that would allow us to send our crews beyond low Earth orbit for the first time in 40 years. That is also important as how people perceive us. There's lots of work going on that right now, and the Orion, as was mentioned in this film, is being assembled in the old operations and checkout building, called that because that's where we used to check out the command module for Apollo. But the state managed to help us and help Lockheed Martin refurbish that facility, and it needed refurbishing, and are now assembling what the vehicle that, as Bob pointed out, is going to fly up on top of a Delta IV next year, but its real job is going to be to fly on top of the SLS. And yes, it's been talked about several times here regarding commercial space. Since we can no longer put our flight crews in space and have to depend on the Russians to do that, which is not exactly helping our perception out there around the world, it is important that we regain that capability. And we're pursuing it through the so-called commercial endeavors. I think all of them have been mentioned. I've got 3 that they're down to now. Sierra Nevada is building what I would call a small space plane that can actually land on the, and right now Boeing is pursuing something called a CST-100, and they are building that in one of our old orbiter processing facilities that was also refurbished with the help of the state, and they're going to put that on top of an Atlas V to fly it. And SpaceX, which is right now up there docked with the International Space Station, is also going to not only try to take cargo, they want to take crew. And hopefully out of that we'll come up with at least one vehicle that we're all comfortable with, maybe more, that will help us be able to put our own people back up in space. Space technology is also extremely important. And I don't like to use spinoffs as a way to try to sell the space program, but they are important economically. And across the span of the space program, it has helped improve our lives both from a standard of living and an economic standpoint. So they are important. I was told about 3 different technologies that are being worked right here in the state of Florida. We developed a new filter to ensure that we had clean drinking water for our crews up on the International Space Station. And this company's taking that technology and trying to find a way to use it to improve drinking water around the world, which is much needed in third world countries. We also have another company that's taking advantage of some aerogels that we developed to control the temperatures on the space station, the space shuttle main engines, and they're using that for improved insulation in homes and buildings. And another company is taking space technology and helping us reduce noise and vibration in airplanes. So it is being used right here in Florida, and there are many more other examples, probably better than the ones I've just given you. But another thing, and I think it was mentioned by someone, in fact it was mentioned on the film, space inspires our young people to study subjects that involved with science, technology, engineering, and math, the so-called STEM studies, the tough studies. And if you look at how we're comparing around the world today with our students, we're not doing very well. And we've got some bright students, don't get me wrong, but as a percent, we're not doing all that good. And we need to find ways to inspire our youth to get involved with those kinds of subjects. And we've got to inspire them by also putting jobs out there that they know that they're going to be able to get when they graduate. In fact, I just saw a study that was recently put out by the governor's office over 1 year this past year. We actually gained about 15% in STEM type job postings here in the state. So there are jobs out there. And in fact, some companies are having a hard time trying to find qualified people to take those jobs. So, and again, the space program is a way of pushing people or inspiring them to do those things. So, like sometimes I've heard in my community, is Kennedy Space Center closing up? No, it's not closing up. There's lots of work going on. We are in a transition phase, and I know it gets confusing sometimes to figure out exactly what we are doing if you're not directly involved. But the Cape Canaveral was where we started our space program. It continues to be the center of our space program, and the Kennedy Space Center is going to continue to be America's spaceport for putting our people up in space. I will also mention that tourism, as we all know, is important here in our state, and hopefully that's going to get a nice shot in the arm this summer when we unveil the Atlantis, the Space Shuttle Atlantis, on display at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. And the state, through Space Florida, helped us get a loan that allowed us to build the building that's going up around that shuttle right now. And I would encourage all of you, when it opens on June the 29th, to come down and take a look at it. I think it'll give you a sense of pride as to what this country can do. Tell your friends and family about it. And again, thank you for all of your support.
At this time, I'd like the Challenger Center folks to come up, please. Step up, please. Danny, don't mind.
Nice to meet you.
Danny is the president of the Challenger Center Board of Directors. And on behalf of the Florida Space Day Committee, it is our privilege to present you with this momentous of a check, and a real check here, for $3,000.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, just briefly, on behalf of the board and the staff at the Tallahassee Challenger Learning Center of Tallahassee, we're extremely grateful for the continued support. This year, the center celebrates its 10th year, and we promise to continue serving and educating that K through 12 group that a number of people have talked about in those crucial areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So again, we're extremely grateful and thank you for the check today. Thank you.
We have a couple more legislators that came in. I think one current and one previous would like to recognize Senator Galvano, my apologies, sir. Sorry, sir. Senator John, I couldn't have done it with a lot of help. And steering committee, thank you very much for your guidance and leadership. I appreciate it along the way. But we all know that the real work is done by the implementation committee, and we have some very dedicated individuals that have been with us many years and some new faces within our group, and we're growing. We like that, and the work that you're doing is very much appreciated by every person that's in my position as well as our entire industry, so I thank you for that. And specifically, products, our brochure this year, Jeff, was outstanding. Thank you so much. I know you had help from Mike, and we appreciate that so much. Media this year, we stepped out a little bit. You know, we're old school. I know I am anyway, but we got into the social media more this year than we have in years past, and we think it was a huge success. And a team of people put that together, and they beat me up for a week or so to agree to it, and I'm so glad that I made that wise decision. Charlene Harmon, Tina Vanover, put my glasses on, Sam Gutierrez, and Margot Witcher, thank you so much. Lodging and facilities, providing this venue for us and all the food and setting up hotels, a lot of work. We have a lady that has been helping us for years there, and very important to making things go as smoothly as they have. Pat Corrales, thank you so much. As you know, the focus here primarily are our teams that we put together, and we try to meet with every elected official while we're here. That's a lot of work to put those teams together. We have numerous changes that we have to make real time based on people's availability and schedules changing and so forth. And Malvino Gasco, thank you so much for leading that effort. Stephanie, wherever you are, I know you helped on every single team here, and I thank you for that. She's one of the new faces that she's going to be leading this group before long, I'm sure of it. And then Frank mentioned LaDonna. LaDonna is our go-to person for so many things. I probably went over my minutes every month on my cell phone talking to LaDonna to make sure that I understood what we were doing here. And LaDonna, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And earlier she texted me, make sure that as people are leaving to leave their name texted. That's the last thing tonight, LaDonna, no more. Okay, thank you. With that, please stick around, enjoy your evening. Part of what we're doing here is to get to know people that have our common goals, and meet some people you haven't met, enjoy the food and drink, and the rest of the evening. Thank you so much.